Everyone knows that past performance is a good indicator of future behaviour. So when 4 young people arrived at Pippi Beach's most expensive house by motor cruiser, Lily wasn't surprised that her mother was the first to notice. Within minutes, Lydia was on the deck in her best bikini, eyes glued to the telescope. "Mum," admonished Lily, "they'll see you." "I'm counting on it." 2 young men, who could safely be judged handsome even from this distance, were transferring luggage and supplies up to the house, assisted by someone clearly from the local marina and therefore unimportant. 2 young women in sunglasses and flowing fabrics stalked the sand nearby, flicking their hair around. "You looking?" Lydia asked. "No," said Lily, her eyes fixed determinedly elsewhere. "You will when I tell you who it is." "I don't want to know who it is." "Yes, you do." "No, I don't." "Because it's Casey Brandon." Lydia tore her eyes away momentarily from the telescope to gloat. "Casey Brandon!" I know my rich and gorgeous megastars." "Really?" An internationally famous visitor at their tiny beach settlement seemed unlikely to Lily, but she didn't like to confirm or disprove it by telescope. Not that she could have prized it from her mother anyway. "Oh my goodness, there it is, he's taken off his shirt." "Mum, he clearly wants attention." "Not from you." "How do you know? I'm not just your mum, I'm a hot mum." "He's probably come here to get some privacy." "He's American. They don't know what that is. It's our duty as Australians and neighbours to welcome him, show him around." "Please do not do that." "Mum, please." Lydia didn't reply. She was too busy monitoring the way shirtless Casey Brandon was carrying a box of groceries. All supplies to Pippi Beach had to be brought over by boat, and what people chose to bring offered quite a bit of insight into their lifestyles, tastes, intentions, incomes, and length of stay. This was all important information, especially to the few who lived in the pretty beach settlement all year round. Lydia had become a very experienced judge. 6 years ago, Lydia and her 2 girls had come to her older sister Jane's beach house at Pippi for a family Christmas and never left. Jane, who only came to Pippi for weekends and holidays, offered the house as a temporary solution until Lydia got back on her feet. Another apartment, another job, and another relationship had all fallen through, at least partly because of the girl's father, who had failed in pretty much every respect as a partner and as a reasonable person. Lydia felt it was only fair. Jane had practically sleepwalked into a high-income interior design career and then selfishly topped it off with a wealthy husband. And what were sisters for, if not to share their good fortune? At Pippi, Lydia found somewhere to bring up her girls. By overstating her ability to maintain the place, which comfortably slept 6 in the main house and 6 more in a separate pavilion out the back, Lydia talked Jane out of requiring rent. She found work in a casual partnership with local entrepreneur Birdie round the back, cleaning weekenders and holiday houses, but not more than 4 hours a day and not at all during the summer holidays when the extended family gathered at Pippi. There were 3 other sisters between Jane and Lydia, whose visits to Pippi with their partners and children provided Lydia with what she loved most, an audience. Unfortunately, this summer would be relatively quiet. Jane and her family were there and one of the other young cousins, but the rest of them had quite rudely decided to spend most of the holidays elsewhere. Lydia was determined to make this the best summer ever, to make it clear to her sisters that they had missed out, especially Elizabeth, who, as a successful children's author with a husband even wealthier than Jane's, was the richest. "You watch," Lydia murmured to Lily as she watched the supplies being hauled up the steps and into the network of architectural decks at the Cliff House. "I'll be best friends with them in no time." "That is not a good idea." "I'm thinking of your children." "We're not children, we're teenagers. We're perfectly capable of amusing ourselves, and we don't need you spying on strangers." "It's not spying if they're our friends," insisted Lydia, who, in her mind, was already up at the Cliff House having a glorious time with attractive young people who never had to worry about boring things like money. Lydia found a more appreciative audience for her news in her younger daughter Rosie and niece Kat, who were not at all averse to looking at movie stars in general and already followed Casey Brandon on social media. Aunt Jane agreed with Lily, who said that perhaps visiting celebrities ought to be left alone, rather like snakes in the sun.